very much, Jack. And you're right, it could be a very, very good day. It could also be a very long day as well.
That's all right.
We talked a little bit about it on the desk, obviously, in the pre-show, saying a lot of these games have the potential to go to Game 5. But before we actually go ahead and break everything down, I do want to touch on something. Chance, you brought this up yesterday. You foresaw TK going to more Game 5s throughout this week and throughout the rest of the division. Why? What is it that gave you that insight?
Not against Vitality. I thought that would have been the exception to the rule. I thought at least 5, but the insight is that they're not as dominant as they used to be, but obviously they're going to be strong. We've seen a lot of Game 5s from them in the past, but it's their hard point. Obviously, I still think they're the best hard point team in the game, outside of Valkyrie, in terms of knowing how to play the game, but their slaying power just isn't there anymore. Kenny hasn't had monster performances like we've seen. Well, this one does not count for the record, because when you beat a team by 230 points or whatever it was, those stats just don't matter. But the slaying power hasn't been there. Kenny and Chino haven't been quite as good as they have in the past, but obviously they're still fantastic. So I think you're just going to see a lot of Game 5s because they're not going to be able to consistently win both the hard points, even if they're basically gonna win one against every single team. And then their CTF's kind of average, and then their search has looked a little bit lackluster at times as well. So it's just the fact that they're more beatable. They're not going to be able to strong arm obviously any team that's in the league right now. So even if they should be getting the majority of the wins, it's going to be tough. So you'll see a lot of Game 5s for those tough series.
That's just unacceptable.
That looks like a pub.
Well, at least Mulls had all the points.
That's not a silver lining, Joe.
We always look on the bright
side, Joe. He did not get to 10 kills.
100% of his team's points.
He did not get to 10.
Well,
he had 100% of his team points.
I mean, coming into this series, right? Like, what did we talk about? The vetoes, right? Like, why are you banning London Dodge Hardpoint? I know you don't want to play on it, but you don't want to get beat 250 to 28. And I thought it was going to be the same thing going into the Search and Destroy. As that map, too, will load up, I just didn't think, Vitality was going to beat them. Again, this has been TK's best map, but Vitality, well, they proved me wrong.
Maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe they threw so hard a map on, they're like, TK is going to get cocky, overconfident, let's get destroyed, get demoralized, and then we'll bounce back because TK will take a slightly different game too. But that's not at all what happened, though. Vitality just played it better overall. Like, Nades and Kenny just had a very special relationship this match. Like, on top of the B-plat, 2 separate rounds, he just gets first blooded from nades. One time he gets stuck by, I think Xerox had a nice little nade spot. Another round he gets triple naded. And then there's a round on offense, they're pushing up B where he gets caught out by a nade. So even with Hunker, they can still be devastating, even get you one shot. Also some nice plays. Maul's coming out with some cheeky spots as well. But yeah, I think the preparation for Vitality was just there.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's something that you both throughout the entire couple of weeks have been mentioning. Preparation. There's tons of VOD now you can go back and watch. You should be able to prep, Joe, for pretty much everyone.
And that's the thing to me with TK. Search and Destroy, there's nothing different. Like St. Marie that we've seen twice. We saw it yesterday. We saw it today. Like, yes, TK today won. They shot better in that Game 5, but they're not switching anything up. And I know that there's not a lot of room to make some adjustments, but you can show something different, switch it up more often, especially on their offenses. It feels like they're just going to their go-tos, and teams are reading them, very easily.
And that one, of course, Vitality take 6-4, so series tied at 1-1. Then, of course, we head over towards the CTF. We also got our wish. We wanted to see that Valkyrie, and we got to see it again. But before we get there, of course, we head over towards the CTF, and again, Chance, you mentioned it before, TK, this is probably their weakest game mode across the board, but ultimately they do come up and put a great showing.
It was a run back as well, so they've played Vitality on this before. I don't know how much preparation came back. Like, I was listening into TK, and it was accuracy, knew what he was doing, like off the rip or on a sub, depending on what they do. I'll pull out the AR, and so they're very good about making those adjustments, but ultimately they just bullied out Vitality. It was just kind of flashbacks to the hard point. If Kenny didn't jump off the map twice, at least one of those flags, I think, would have gone in, and it would have been even further in their favor. But Chino got streaks. Kenny just completely turned up towards the end, and he got streaks. It was just TK dominance as we should have been able to expect.
Yeah, you talked about Kenny not having sort of a star performance. Well, he changed that around in Game 3. He was the best player, and again, when he's able to put up those numbers at the aggression that he's playing at, it's just so hard to stop this TK team. And again, it's just pretty much basic, TK. As soon as they get the lead, they don't make a lot of mistakes. It's very hard to beat them. I mean, yeah, Vitality, it's a flag, but for the most part, everybody on TK is positive. It was a great capture of the flag, which is good to see because there for a while, TK was struggling a bit in that game type.
Right. Obviously, you mentioned Kenny being a fantastic player, and when he's playing well, of course, it makes life easier for TK. We can take a look at the CWL play of the game presented by scuff. I mean,
is it him falling?
It's no.
Okay.
It's him killing everything, actually, Joe. It's him making such a good decision. Obviously, you see him here just slaying pretty much everyone from Vitality out by himself. Gets himself some streaks as well. Just a wonderful play.
Yeah, that second one right there, you know, it was a little worrying. Like, he has a flag. He could probably just run it in, but he decides to go for the one-on-one, and then he waits for his teammate to spawn, clutches it up, puts the flag in. Yeah, he has so many points. At that point, he's 20-11 on a 6-free. I mean, he basically one-on-one versus 3 with the flag.
That was either 950 points or 1,050 points. 950, yeah, there you go. 950. That's insane. To just, like, you get full streaks out, you start doubling up off of, like, a 10-second span. Like, that is nutty for CTF.
Very, very impressive play coming in from Kenny. Of course, at that point now, series 2-1 in favor of Team Kaliber. Then we head over to a Valkyrie hardpoint. We were excited. TK, the only team so far in Division A to pick it. And Joe, you think they pick it again?
You know what? I'm gonna say this. I don't know if it's just okay. I know we're pretty much safe in the playoffs. I mean, they're not. I mean, if they would have lost this, it would have got really crazy. Echo Fox would have had a great opportunity to really sort of step it up. But I don't know if it's just TK saying, let's sort of widen our map pool. Let's get better at this. So this is a go-to. If teams do want to sort of veto Ardent Forest, we can beat teams on this. But again, I mean, Chino has a slow match, and that's really it. You know, Vitality, you know, they slay well. They finally get things going. You have not only Whalers again going, you know, 28 and 16, but Xerox is there. Typically, it's just Whalers doing it all in those, you know, respawn game modes, but he has some help here, and a great job by Vitality.
Not only a great job from Vitality, and not only the slow start from Chino, but they were also just sloppy. Like, TK was just, they had a sloppy hard point, not watching lanes properly. At times, teammates going to watch the exact same thing when there's like a cut that's just wide open that Vitality has like 3 players pushing through. So obviously there's going to be some sense of like lack of awareness just because, you know, it's a completely new map. You don't know what to expect from different teams, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff in that map that went wrong for TK that we just don't see from them. And again, their hard point, like when they're on point, sometimes they have close games. If they falter even a little bit, like, teams will beat them.
Yeah, and again, it's sort of like they played yesterday against Rise, which I question because Forest was open, but here they pick it, and I have to think the thinking going into it is let's just play more on it, right? Like, we can beat Vitality if it does go to a Game 5, which we are into. Some great snipes out of Chino. They were trading rounds early on, but TK got control. But you have to think it's just, let's just play this more. Let's get it a few official matches under our belt so that it is a go-to for us.
Well, definitely more practice needed before you can say go-to. You're 0-2 on the map now. You lost to Rise, you lost to Vitality. But, of course, it does go to a Game 5 chance. And obviously, Joe mentioned it a little bit earlier on. You kind of know what to expect here from TK.
Well, in fairness, they did go to round 11 last time these two teams matched up, but I don't know. It's an interesting point of comparison. Like, I don't like Chino sniping on this map, which is weird to say because obviously he's very good with it, but I think a lot of it is just you're hoping that players either peek a top red window or they peek you from across the map. I think what Whalers did the very first round was very smart because they have the film on TK. They're going to say, we know accuracy. He sits on top of the window, stares out of the cross. Whalers comes around and he knows exactly where he's going to be, gets the kill. Other than that, though, the sniper wasn't overly useful from either side, but yeah, at a certain point, it was TK. They just kind of flipped the switch. There was one down on defense where they just bullied him out on the B site, just completely stormed through. That's what we should be able to expect from TK.
Well, another Game 5 for TK.